2017, I decided that I wanted to run my own business. I wanted to take life on my own terms. Unfortunately, I really didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know how to go about that. So I committed over the next 2 years to read as many books as possible. Now, as many books as possible is super vague. So what actually happened is over the next 2 years, I went back to college, I was a full-time student, I was a full-time supervisor at Starbucks, and I read over 200 books from 2017 through 2019. At the end of 2019, I actually quit my job at Starbucks and doubled my pay. And I was able to do that from the information I gathered from those over 200 books. Now today, I'm gonna outline some of the best books that I read and what allowed me to quit my job at Starbucks, double my income, work for myself. Hey, and welcome to the Network Marketing Personal Development Show here on Finding Leadership Within, where you learn to grow yourself and grow your business. My name is Gabriel Klingman, author of the book Opportunity Switch, author of the book The $1 Million Employee, and co-founder of Finding Leadership Within and this channel. And today I'm going to show you the books that every new entrepreneur needs to read. Out of the 200 books that I read from 2017 to 2019, these books that I am about to list here are the ones that allowed me to quit my job and double my income. Before we dive in, if you want up-to-date weekly training on how you can unleash your potential, grow yourself, and grow your business, then hit that subscribe button for more weekly content. Here we go. Today, I'm gonna break these books down into 5 categories. The first are the foundational books. These are the books that regardless of the type of business that you want, these are foundational. If you want the right mindset for making money, if you want the right mindset for entrepreneurship, these are the books for you. Next, I'm gonna break down the business principles. These are the ones that help you understand how to run a business. It takes a very specific mindset to be a business operator, and these books will show you how to develop that. The third category is how to or marketing. This is much more granular, much more detail oriented, a step-by-step process, if you will, for how to operate and run your business. This really focuses on marketing, selling, and connecting with your customer. If you don't know these how-to steps, if you don't know how to do this, then everything else is just fluff. Everything else is just conceptual without having the step-by-step process on how to actually do it. That'll be the third step. The fourth category is personal development. I would be remiss if I did not go deep into personal development here on the Personal Development Show. So we're going to talk about how to set up your life for success. The fifth and final category is all about holistic life improvement. These books couldn't really fit into a single category earlier, but they are absolutely crucial if you want to have overall life success. Category 1 is foundational books. This has to deal with time management and mindset. When you're first starting your business, there are 10,000 things that you could be doing, but really there's only a handful of things that you should be doing. These books that I am about to outline show you exactly what you should and shouldn't be focusing on, what you should be prioritizing, and most importantly, why. This is the foundation, regardless of the type of business, product, service, whatever type of business that you have, these are foundational. The first is The One Thing by Gary Keller. This is a must read. If you don't read any other books that I am about to list, read this one. This will tell you how to prioritize your time, what to focus on. It will give you the tools so that you can create the life that you want. When you first start out, you're not going to have a lot of time. Most of you are probably having a traditional job while you're trying to start your business. So The One Thing really teaches you how to optimize your time, how to focus on the things that matter most and really drive results in your business. The second book in the foundational category is Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Now, he's released a ton of books. I think he's on 4 or 5 at this point, and I know I've read at least the first 4. And don't get me wrong, all of his books are really good. They all provide a lot of value. But there is one that trumps them all, and that is Expert Secrets. You probably think you have to be a consultant or a speaker or someone who's trying to build a personal brand. You're probably thinking, Gabe, I want to build a products company or an agency. I don't need to be an quote unquote expert. Why would that book apply to me? That book applies to you because it is Business 101. They talk about marketing. They talk about sales. He talks about branding. He talks about targeting. He talks about understanding your customer, understanding your message. All of these things are crucial regardless of your business, regardless of the type of business that you're starting. You need to know who you're targeting. You need to know what you stand for. You need to know why you're different than someone else, right? All of these things are crucial regardless of the business type. And Expert Secrets breaks it down in the most practical way that I have ever seen. The third foundational book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Big surprise. Most of you have probably heard this if you haven't read it. But when I first started, I hadn't read it. So I dove right in. That was one of the first books I read, and it changed my life. If you want to understand how to view money differently, how to view it as an investment, how to view it from a business owner, an entrepreneur standpoint, this book is crucial. My family, we grew up very, very poor. We had to make the choice of whether to heat the house or pay the mortgage on multiple occasions. We had food stamps. I got my first job working at a local supermarket so that we could get groceries at a discount and save a little bit of money. The poverty mindset was ingrained in my head for so many years. This book is the number one book that has helped me push through that. It's helped me see that there is more out there than just getting by. Category number 2 is business principles. There's 2 books in this category, but one of them is an absolute must read, and it's Ready, Fire, Aim by Micheal Masterson. So I want to be honest about this book. This book is a must read for everyone, but I don't think everyone needs to read the whole book. If you get it on Audible, it's like 15 or 20 hours or something. It's a commitment, a serious commitment. But I don't think everyone needs to read the whole thing. The book is actually broken out into 3 different parts. Part 1 is going from 0, I think it's like 0 to 100,000. Part 2 is like 100,000 to 1 million. And part 3 is like 1 million plus. It's something like that, some arbitrary sections. If I were you, I would only focus on part 1. Part 1 was the most helpful. Everything else was good conceptually, but if you're not there yet, then you don't need to worry about that. You're putting the cart before the horse. What you really need to read and really need to focus on is that first third of the book, how to get from 0 to 100,000. There's a mindset shift that happens from this book, and they even describe it in the title. It's ready, fire, and then aim. It's not ready, aim, then fire, as we would expect. So what does that mean in business? Without going too in detail, because you absolutely should read the book, they do a really great job of explaining it and practically what this looks like. But roughly speaking, this means you should act, then you should interpret what's happening, then you should iterate, make some sort of change, and then act again. That's Ready, Fire, Aim by Micheal Masterson. The second book in the business principles category is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Farriss. Yes, of course, I threw a Tim Farriss book in here. Now, this one was really interesting for me because it opened my eyes to the possibilities. Now, there are opportunities everywhere. The more opportunities that you see, the more are out there. It's this weird spiral. It's kind of like when you first buy a car. I recently bought a Toyota, right? A couple years back. Before I had this Toyota, I was a 100% Honda guy. All the way, shout out to all my Honda people. And I would always see Hondas. And then all of a sudden, I swapped over. I bought my first Toyota. And now all of a sudden I'm driving and oh my God, there's a Toyota. Oh, there's a Toyota. I just start spotting these Toyota cars. Opportunities seem to be the same way. The second you start to see one, you start to see them everywhere. And this book for me helped me realize and help me see different opportunities everywhere. It really shows that in order to have a business, you can do it in 1,000 different ways. It's not just so cookie cutter, one step, do this, do that, but you can do it in 10,000 different ways if you want. Category number 3 is how to. We're talking marketing and selling. This is really granular. This is really detail oriented, right? Everything else has been pretty conceptual, changing your mindset, finding opportunities. How do you look at problems differently? How do you do time management? Now we're going to talk about the nitty gritty details. fundamentals. Now we're going to really get into how do you go about building your business. And the first book is an absolute must read, and it is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. For someone who understands psychology, this book set me on fire. This gets me so excited. I think I read it at least a couple times a year just to stay fresh and just because it's kind of fun. It's a really fun book. It really talks about motivation. How do you motivate someone to take an action? In this case, how do you motivate a potential customer to take the action of going through a sale? How do you increase the likelihood that they will actually go through that sale, right? Like if you're just gonna meet someone random on the street and say, hey, will you buy my thing? Chances are they won't buy. But using some of the principles that are outlined in this book, you can identify who is most likely to buy. Then you can ask them in certain ways that will increase the likelihood that they will say yes. Book number 2 in the How To and Marketing is The One-Page Marketing Plan by Alan Dibb. This is straight up marketing 101. It is the basic but exceptionally practical. If you go and read other marketing books, you will likely get a lot of philosophy, a lot of crazy ideas, potentials. Oh, what some people like this, some people like that. In order to actually make money, you really just need the basics. You need who to target, where they gather, how to target them, what to say. That's what you need. The One-Page Marketing Plan gives you all of that information. It sets you up, it gives you the system so that you can go through and say, okay, this is who my target audience is. This is the problem I'm solving. This is how to communicate to them. This is where they gather. Here's my system. It's one page, super simple marketing. The third book of the How To Marketing section is Purple Cow by Seth Godin. Now, Purple Cow for me was the most helpful. It helps you identify how am I different from all of my other competitors, right? Because people don't want to buy the same thing. What makes you different than the person who is selling the exact same product to that same person, right? What makes Starbucks different than Dunkin' Donuts? What makes Coke different than Pepsi? What makes North Face different than Patagonia? Everyone has their angle. And if you can find what your angle is, what makes you different, what makes you unique, then you can set yourself out apart from them. And I'm no longer competing with my competitor because I am my own standalone, right? When you can make that distinction, that's when sales really start to come in. Category number 4 is personal development. This is going to be so much fun. So in the category of personal development, I only have 2 book recommendations. It's not because I haven't read a lot on personal development. I have 143 books in my Audible library and probably another 100 on my Kindle, not to mention my bookshelf over there. And most of them are filled with either business or personal development books. But these 2 take the cake. They make everything else seem like it's not important. The first is The High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. This book really teaches you how to organize your life to achieve your goals. What are the habits that you need to do every single day so that you can make one step closer to your goal every day? It's not about taking these leaps and bounds towards your goal, because leaps and bounds don't last. It's the daily steps, the daily increments that you are getting better. That's how you achieve your goal. This book tells you exactly what are the habits that you need to align so that you can set up success and set up goal achievement on autopilot. If you're really into this book, you can actually get the High Performance Planner as well, which we've talked about here on the show. The second book in this personal development category is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I was very late to the party with this book. Everyone was talking about it, and I was thinking to myself, habits are important, but I already read The High Performance Habit by Brendon Burchard. But eventually, towards the end of the 2 years, I started to get some FOMO. I started to say, you know what? Everyone is saying this is great. Let's just see what it's worth. Let's just see what people are talking about. And I read it, and I was blown away. It was one of the best books that I've read. Now, the reason I didn't make this a must read is because it is much more long-term thinking, right? It's more about a mentality and less about a practice. It is very practical, but for me, the High Performance Habits was much more practical. This was more about a mentality of long-term thinking. 100% worth it. I've actually listened to it about 2 or 3 times since then, and I've outlined it and plan on doing a full book review on this because I think it is absolutely crucial, and I think it's a piece that so many entrepreneurs are missing on how to set your life up for success on autopilot. But I think it's a little too long-term for me to make it a must-read, especially if you're in the beginning. That being said, within the first 2 years of you running a business, it becomes a must-read. And finally, we have the 5th category, the overall life improvement. There's 3 specific books that I would recommend. And the first, as always, is the must-read. Now, the first book is a little different. And to be honest, it was actually one of the very first books I started to read back in 2017. It was called Solve for Happy by Godin. Now, what makes this book so interesting is that Mo was a chief executive and engineer at Google. So he has this very analytical, logical, engineering mind, and he decided to apply that to happiness. He asked himself, is happiness an equation? And if it is, how do we solve for happy? It's a very simple concept, but when he breaks it down and you look at the studies and you look at the results and how you can actually create happiness in any moment, just like that, you can become happy. It's quite life-changing. The second book in this overall life improvement category is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yes, of course we're bringing up Dale Carnegie. He was one of the biggest mentors for me through his books and through his trainings. This book really dives into human relations. If you want to learn how to have a better relationship with others as well as with yourself, this is a must read. If you want to learn how to be better at sales, this is a must read. And finally, the last book is another one that's just a little bit different. It's So Good That They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. What intrigued me about this book most was the premise of the book. The whole premise is that you shouldn't pursue your passion, and pursuing your passion won't make you happy. Now, if you know me, you know that I am very passionate about everything I do, and I'm literally structuring my life so that I can live out my passion every day. So of course, I had to read the one book that said, don't do this, don't pursue your passion, you're doing it wrong. And I have to say, they've almost got me convinced. There are some incredible points, and now I honestly tell people, you should not pursue your passion. And you'll have to read the book to tell you why I tell people that. Thank you so much for hanging out here. I'm gonna show you the must-reads for all of the books that we just went through. The One Thing by Gary Keller, Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson, Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, The High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard, and Solve for Happy by Godin. There are links for each of these books right in the description, so go right ahead and check those out. If you want weekly, up-to-date training on how you can unleash your potential, grow yourself, and grow your business, then hit that subscribe button. Let me know. If you got any value from this, hit that like button. Let me know. Don't forget to shoot a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite book is. I'll be right here next week with more training to help you unleash your potential. As always, grow yourself, grow your business.